Hello viewers, this is Sherlock Robinson. Are you tuned into my YouTube channel? Please remember to share, subscribe and like as I continue to highlight community development either socially, religiously, politically, whichever way. But we are here to highlight persons, and the main objective behind all of this is that my idea is that I want to target men, yeah, because I've noticed in the society, I've observed that a lot has been done to protect women and children, which is not a bad thing, it's a good thing. But I also think that if we can put a little more emphasis on men, bring them to the front more, then I think crime and violence will be stemmed. Because what we are trying to do is to allow them to change their thought process and to see positive vibes coming forward. Because as you know and we know, that on social media there are a lot of negative energy pushing forward. So we want to take this opportunity and to push some positive vibes that they can help persons to influence their behavior, change of thought process, and that they can become a better version of themselves. I'm here with Mr. Peart. He's the coach of the Glenmuir High School. Formerly, he used to be the coach of UWI Mona campus, and you will learn a bit more about him. So stay tuned as we try to give you a little bit more on his public life. Alright? Please remember to share, subscribe and like. Sir Peart.
Yes,
Greetings,
Sir Robinson.
Hey man, enough respect. What I want to say, I am grateful for this opportunity to have this privilege to come here and have a little chit chat. And as I mentioned earlier, that I am targeting men, and I hope this thing will go viral and that person will log on to the idea and help to bring it forward, because we want to rescue some of our men. Because too much of our men, and when I say men, it captured the whole thing up in terms of young men, older men, are going like with great potential. We've seen a lot of them going to waste. So we want to use this space to bring some positive vibes and to use some person who have been through the rubbles and have a success story can tell. So we are here with you today, sir, and I said I embrace this opportunity. But just for the viewers, could you state your name and tell a little about yourself?
Andrew Peart, as you mentioned. I'm a football coach educator, and somebody who grew up loving sports, and not just football but all sorts of sports.
Yes.
I'm a husband, father, and I like to consider myself as a young person.
Okay.
And somebody who tries to impact change through the lives of others.
Yes. So, Sir Peart, just to backtrack a bit. So, where you're from? How was your upbringing? What school you attend? And all of those things.
Yes, I'm from a community in Manchester called Milgully. From my perspective, I don't know from persons outside looking in, like what is Milgully known for, but Milgully, one of those prominent communities, especially from the emancipation of slavery.
Yes.
On the outskirts of Milgully, you have Midstone, which was one of the first free villages founded in Jamaica. So Milgully is quite historic in terms of its place. Before Manchester was a parish, was one of the major towns, along with Mayday down that side, and then the parish capital was decided to be in the middle between Milgully and Mayday, which became Mandeville. So Manchester being the youngest parish, Mandeville is obviously the youngest town parish capital. So Milgully, Manchester, born and grew up. Milgully Primary School, and then Manchester High School, then University of the West Indies, Mona. For me, growing up in Milgully, it was about church, family, school, and then play. So every evening after school I'd come home and play. With in my proximity in Malgody where I grew up, you had a lot of young persons around about my age. So either plus or minus 5 years younger or older than me.
Okay.
So we would always go to this cow pasture that we would clear and play football, play cricket. Even on some Sunday evenings, it's the same football, cricket in a place called Good. And that was it. So that upbringing, interacting with others through sports, watching, and this is long before social media or even the what do I call this now, availability of cable TV.
Okay.
My information to what's happening outside of Jamaica in terms of sports was the local TV sports program, and also newspaper magazines. So if you go to my parents' house now, you find some World Soccer magazines from 1999 or from 2000. I used to just go to the library, collect them, or anywhere I can get magazines on football or sports, I'll collect those.
And in those years, you would only have two major television, two major radio stations, RJ and JBC.
Well, not so old in terms of the
Okay.
radio stations.
Okay.
I think when I was growing up, there are a lot more radio stations than that. But free-to-air TV was just it.
Okay.
There's no internet like readily available at that age, but you relied on the sports programs or the news and the newspaper. So the love for sports and the quest to gain information, you got that from listening, watching, or reading. So I figure while that interest in sports is being developed or realized, there's still the interest or the development academically, because you're reading, you're watching, you're listening, and you're trying to form your own opinions.
Okay.
I figure even my love for geography, I wouldn't say stemmed from sports, but kind of found a comforting space with sports.
Yes.
So calling names from non-English places, or knowing where nation capitals or teams are located, or where this player is from. I think that was just a beneficial confluence with sports and geography.
Okay. So while growing up, you used to go woodland and look wood and care water and them things.
Not go look wood, but growing up rural community, you have a goats.
Oh yes.
That's mainly you help out on your farm, that sort of thing. So real rural upbringing. But I think in looking back at it, it's a good one, because at least it teaches proper foundation. Also, one thing with persons from farming communities, it will teach you a lot in terms of patience as well. And not just patience in terms of sitting and waiting, but patience in terms of while you're being patient, you're still being active. So you think about sowing seeds, being patient, but still while being patient, you're still tending to the seeds that you planted. You take out the weeds, you water it, that sort of thing. So I'm a true believer of that. Your environment kind of helps to dictate what type of person you eventually become.
So while going to primary school, were you one of those teachers' pet, or you have to work really hard in terms of academics in the classroom?
I would have said teacher's pet, not at all. I wouldn't say work extra hard. I believe like I had the ability to do my schoolwork.
Okay.
Another part that's influential in the academic output was church. Like you go to Sunday school and
Yeah, man.
you have to read and you have to recite like a golden text and what the Bible verse for this
Good old
week
days,
or
brother.
that is. So that again was another form of socialization that really helped, because then again you're mixing with persons who are at different ages and grades at school, and they're telling you about what they're doing in high school and which high school they're going, and which high school you should look to go to and all of that. So I would say in terms of school, I was just somebody who did well academically at school.
So transitioning from the primary, did you pass the common entrance or you did the GSAT?
I'd be the second batch of persons who did the GSAT.
Okay, so when you transitioned to Manchester High School, like you mentioned earlier, how was life there at Manchester High School?
You would think leaving primary school that, alright, can't wait to get by this exam GSAT thing and then move into high school, then you can relax. But then when you get to high school, you realize that, okay, this is a level up, and then you have to level up literally and meet the new demands and competition, because at primary school you're used to being in like top 3, top 4 place persons.
Okay.
So alright, you move on to high school now, then you say I have to be in this top 10 most of the times, if not all the times, first to third form where they actually do grade placement. But yeah, at high school it was still a love for sports and still that academic pursuit, because you value or view education as something that's invaluable, and that's something that you need to ensure that you leave much better than you actually came in.
So you used to travel from Mile Gully to Manchester High?
Yeah.
Back and forth?
Yeah, not far. It's like 15 minutes from Mile Gully to Manchester, to Mandeville.
Okay.
15-20 minutes most.
So did you participate in any sporting activity while going to Manchester High, or any extra curriculum outside of the bookwork?
Yeah, as I said, sports. So at Manchester High School it was football the main thing.
What position?
This is a beauty about the whole thing. I played centre forward, left wing, left back, centre back at Manchester High School. Yeah, so anywhere along that left side.
Okay.
U16, Costa Cup. At the time we didn't have a U14 ISA competition. Well, even if you had it, we weren't playing it at that time.
Okay.
But we would play like one-day rallies where we was going to Monroe, I think, a couple of times in first and second form to play some one-day tournaments with maybe 2 or 3 other schools at the under 14 level. But at the under 16 level, we competed regularly at that level. I tried out for cricket once, and I guess everybody knew you as a footballer. Maybe they never really took your cricketing abilities very serious. But that's no complaint. That's just me trying to do something.
I had a similar experience while going to school. You know, everybody know me that I used to do tracks, right? And when I tried out for Hill Stars for football, they did take me serious. And I remember the coach told me, which remain nameless, told me that he think my ability is to continue in tracks because he not think football is my thing. But while I was going to school, it was falling high, falling secondary then, I played in the secondary competition for my school, and I also played for, I think I played for a club, you know. It's for All Stars and there's some tracks for them play back in the day. So I understand the perception. So you're playing football, so I just spend most of your time, so they would prefer you to continue.
And to be fair to the coaches or even the other cricketers, they were far better specialists,
Yes.
or even some who played football, they were far better all-rounders than me. I just had that love for doing sports, and I wanted to try out for the cricket. But
Okay, so,
I'm big.
so you fast forward from Manchester High School and you said to the University of the West Indies. What were the different in terms of what would you say in terms of like the difference between going to a high school and going studying at a university?
Well, the big difference, and again, get back on something you mentioned just before.
Yeah.
The big difference is you are more responsible for your own outcomes now.
Okay.
In high school, you are more guided by teachers and so forth. When you go to university, yes, you will have tutors for some courses that you do, but I think overall the relationship with lecturers, especially in classes that are huge in numbers,
Yeah.
is not really there.
Okay.
And you understand why. One lecturer to maybe 50, 60 persons doesn't work out some of the time. But in small groups, tutors really help you out much. But I think you are more liable and responsible for whatever academic output you display.
Okay. You say you were going to mention something.
Hill Stars. You mentioned Hill Stars.
Yeah.
I actually played for Hill Stars one season at the under 15 Barnet League competition. Yeah, I had a friend who, Davey at Manchester High School. He's from Christiana. Well, not this, Limit. That's where he's from. He told me about it that they played the year before, I think 2002, and they won Hill Stars. I was saying they have this under 15 competition and they're looking players because some of them they'll be too old the next year. So he told me about it and I joined the team.
Yeah.
Hill Stars at under 14 and played for them.
So what was
That
the
time
result?
I was playing at centre forward. I think we got knocked out at the semi-finals.
Okay.
But yeah, that was it. But other than that, my club activities is Mile Gully Football Club.
Okay.
And then actually UWI when I was a student there.
So you would know about Mr. Barry Watson and company.
Yeah, I figured that would come on later in this program, but Barry Watson has been, outside of my parents, one of the not one of the most influential person in terms of my success as a person and professionally.
Yeah. Sorry.
He is really one who dedicates his time to the development of community and persons within the community, and I can't say enough how instrumental and how grateful I am for having somebody like that in my life, because he and my parents are close.
Okay.
So anything regarding sports, they would trust him to, okay, if he's out till late, then that's fine because he's with somebody who they know they can trust. So big up to Mr. Watson.
So coach, you made mention of Mr. Barry Watson was one of those influential persons who aid you to become a success story. So outside of Mr. Barry Watson, what really influenced you to get into coaching?
First and foremost, the love for the game, then the understanding of the game, and the more you move into coaching, you realize that whilst you were playing, you were actually doing some of the things that coaches would do. I think one of the main things is organizing players on the field, where even when you're away from the ball, you are organizing, you're dictating. So I think the love for the game, understanding of the game, and the quest to learn more about the game kind of led you into coaching. So I figure it's somewhat naturally occurring, as opposed, and also you just wanting to do it.
So What are some of the teams that you have coached?
So I first started like officially with Manchester High School 2011. Sheldon Davis was the head coach then.
I remember Sheldon Davis.
And then I did a short time at Barbican Football Club when they got promoted to the Premier League, thanks to Miguel Coley, and then Jamaica College as well, through same Miguel. Then, not after, but during as well, at UWI, when I went there, we were playing in the, so having left as a player and came back now, we were still in the CASAFA Super League and playing the intercal competitions, and Marcel Gale brought me on there. And that season, the first year, we got promoted to the Premier League.
Marcel Gale is the coach of St. George, or the assistant coach of St. George's?
He's also head coach at Waterhouse.
Waterhouse, yes.
And the national under 20 men's team. So yeah, that was that. Then Jamaica College during that time as well. Yeah, and then after Jamaica College, it was UWI, Glenmuir, where I'm currently at now, and the Jamaica under 15 boys team.
So, how was it at UWI?
At that time, it was a really good movement, because what you had was a lot of players there. This is my time now as a coach. I had a lot of players who, they were my teammates as players before. Seasons past, they are more matured now. They're still playing. And then we would, with the Super League at UWI, we had the experiences of barely missing out on a top 2 finish, barely surviving relegation one season, and then this first year I was back as coach or assistant coach with Marcel Gale. We were really adamant that no, this is the year that we can really challenge to win the Super League and then try to get into the Premier League playoffs. So we had a lot of players then, because at that time we were providing scholarships to players to come and study, and the Super League team had a lot of former players, current players, and a few non-connected UWI persons.
Okay.
And that really worked for us. It continued into the Premier League season, where now we could bring on players who we could pay, in addition to the scholarship players.
Okay.
And that really forged a strong team, because whether you were studying or not studying at UWI, it was one team and everybody embraced each other. The persons from outside coming in really embraced the culture, and also the whole ideology as to what the university is about. And the persons inside, they never felt threatened that, okay, outside persons are coming in to play over us or anything. It was, we welcome you on board, let's try to make this a fruitful venture and become a good team. So our first couple of years in the Premier League were really good for a newly promoted team. That was 2015.
I remember you were talking about a lot.
Until COVID, where the team folded. And
There was some rumor going around, or something going around about the team, about the UWI team.
No, it's listen, like I think we're at the end of a cycle where it was a decision whether we continue or not, and we didn't continue in the league, and a lot of the players have moved on. But the best thing about it though is that when you look at where a lot of those players who came in on scholarships,
Yeah.
where they are now, it was a very good venture, because Many managed to use a scholarship to secure a first degree. Some even stayed on to do a second degree. And you look at them all placed all over now in different fields across the world, because you have persons in America, Canada, Jamaica, throughout the Caribbean. It's really good. Was a really good venture and really good time there.
So all is at lost for the men?
No. And this is a key thing in terms of, to me, boys, men need opportunities and they need mentorship.
That's true.
Because there is no person who can say they know it all.
Yeah.
And having a strong and critical mentor, somebody who can tell you the truth as well as matter of the truth, more than things you'd want to hear.
Yeah.
That's really important. And opportunities. And I think sports is one of those avenues that provide opportunities a lot for boys and men. As I mentioned, the example of the number of scholarship athletes we managed to take in for football. And if you look at even some of the national track athletes, they came through the university program as well.
Okay.
So opportunity and mentorship are two of the invaluable contributors, I think, in the development of young men.
Yes, coach. So just to backtrack a bit. What's the difference between coaching at a professional level and coaching at a schoolboy level? And could you give you a little more details as how is it coaching here at Glenmuir High School?
The one clear difference is the maturity of the players, because at a professional or semi-professional level, players would have been through life a little bit, even if they are, say, coming in at 18, 19.
Yeah.
You have 20-odd-year-old players at time at you, we had players who were my age, or players who were married, or players who had children at the time. So the life experiences are much different, and the way they display or their demeanor in regular activities or so forth kind of typify what sort of experiences they were being through.
Okay.
At the school level, the player display is a little bit fluctuating. Some days, and what you try to get is consistency.
Yeah.
Some days they'll be very good. Some days they fall out because they are teenagers. They are just getting used to their bodies, getting used to life in a, has to say, restricted, for want of a better word, space. So that's the big difference. I'd say the level of maturity and the life experiences at the different stages.
So what are your chances for this year going into the competition? When you play? Sometime next week?
We start on Wednesday against Old Harbour at Port Esquivel. So this is Wednesday, September 14th.
So what are your chances? How do you fancy your chances to make it to the second round?
Our chances are good as all the other 89 schools entering.
Yeah.
We start with 0 points, 0 goals. So it's up to us to determine what sort of history we want to record.
Because I know that Glenmuir is a rich, as I mentioned, has a rich history because they are champion before.
3-time
Yes.
champions.
And
Having been to the finals many times.
Yeah, so
Won the Ben Francis Cup last year.
oh yes, the defending Ben Francis Cup champion, I forget that. Yeah man, so Glenmuir have a very rich history, football history, and which you would want to build on.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And also taking into consideration what the entire school is about. Like every other school, But one of the things that Glenmuir is really proud of is their academic prowess.
Yes.
And we try to, it's not Glenmuir and then footballers at Glenmuir. It's all students at Glenmuir and some who play football as well. So it's student athletes, and that's very important, because what students who do sports have to understand is that the chances of going or making it to the professional level is pretty slim. So you have to have that insurance package, and also not just an insurance package, but the discipline to focus and do well in school.
Yes.
Is one that becomes habitual and carries over into your other desires, like sports in this case. So I think that both go hand in hand in terms of the discipline and the attitude that's displayed in the classroom is reflected on the field as well.
Okay. So you mentioned earlier that you have some VFF high position, I would say.
Regular position. Yeah.
So what's
so it's coaching education. It's about developing coaches.
Yes.
Which I think is a big part of the football landscape development. Pouring into coaches, making courses available, providing mentorship or guidance for coaches. That's the position that we hold. And I think coaching education is one of the great equalizers for all teams in different contexts. So Jamaica being a small country, not having the population or the availability of players to choose from, unlike many other large countries that they compete with.
Yeah.
To me, if you raise the level of the standard of coaches, then you are raising your team's ability to compete with those countries. Obviously, there are other influencing factors that you must raise as well, but I think the level of coaches is really important. And for this program that you are driving, I think raising the level of coaches will in turn raise the level of influence on the young boys or girls or men or women that they interact with. Because if you look at it, one coach is really responsible or influential on the lives of 20 to 25 persons. So if you can change or improve one person, that's 25 person maybe per year or 2 years.
Yeah.
That person will affect. And then think about the years. So I mentioned Mr. Barry Watson, and think about him as a good coach, good person. And the years and years and years of different cohorts of young men, young girls, he has had an impact on the lives of. I think that's really, really important.
All the people.
Yeah, so good teachers, good students, good coaches.
So question, coach, did they have any influence on the reggae girls?
No.
qualifying for the World Cup?
The reggae girls qualifying for the World Cup is down to the ladies who played and the coaching staff and all the persons who rallied around them. So yeah.
Why you ask the question, you mentioned pouring into girls to become better coaches, so that's why I asked if anybody from your program
No.
was a part of the reggae girls coaching setup.
No.
So coach, we almost come to the end of this interview now. But let me ask you, I want you to look in the camera. What advice do you have for young men, for men in general, but more so our young boys if we are losing them fast and fierce along the way?
I would say to them, the young men, there are opportunities out there and there are skill sets inside of all of you, all the young men out there. It's just them getting an opportunity. Are you finding that opportunity to land in an environment that will aid or bring to light what you have? I had a friend of mine at USA If it's one thing, talent or the light inside of you can't hide. It's just for you to go find that place that will allow you to shine. And also to the persons who are within reach of those young boys or young men, you have a responsibility as well to try to find one and help one wherever you can. And I understand that sometimes it can be a hard task to reach, but I figure different persons have different skill sets to reach different target audiences. So let's just hope and pray that persons in better positions can find an avenue for somebody to shine their light.
And I want to say to you, coach, congratulations for having that job with the JFF, because I remember when it was all over the media.
No, we don't really focus so much on that
selected.
aspect of things. We focus on positive things. Okay, you're in, let's start working. And that's just it, because everything
you do it with the boys.
Yeah, the U15 boys. With everything you can have pros and cons and for and against. And I think the boys did, the under 15 boys did really well. I'm really proud of them, and I'm really looking now to see how they make the next step. Not just with maybe the upcoming national teams, U17 or so, but how they make the next step in their environment, back in their schools or clubs. How do they use that experience of past to build on and be examples for their peers? Because if it's one set of people your peers look up to, is persons within their own group. That's important.
Anyway, coach, thank you for having me, sir.
No problem.
I give you the privilege to have a chit chat with you.
Yeah, man.
And I wish you all the best as we move forward. I would say in an uncertain future, but as we move forward, just keep our heads high, keep grounded, and do what we have to do to be a better version of ourselves.
Definitely.
And I wish you and the Glenmuir camp good success.
Thank
in
you.
This year's competition.
We're proclaiming it.
And I hope you will meet either Belfield or Spaldings. Can knock out.
No. We hope to be invincible this time.
Alright, boy, just respect.
Or even if we are knocked down, we'll get up.
Alright, no respect on that. Yes, cool. So what is the motto of the Glenmuir High School?
It's Flagrans Veritatis Studios, which means burning with the zeal for truth.
Okay, so that is Spanish.
It's Latin and
Latin.
then
Could you repeat again?
Flagrans Veritatis Studios.
Burning with the zeal
For truth.
for truth.
Yes.
You learn something today.
So, the more Glenmuir matches they come, the more familiar we'll be
Okay.
with the motto.
Okay. So coach, check here until then. Respect.
Respect, man.
That's one. So viewers, thank you for watching, and please remember to share, subscribe and like, and to help me build the channel as I continue to highlight community development. It may be on an individual basis or a group or some projects or whatever it is. I'm here to bring you up to date. So stay tuned until then. This is Sherlock Robinson out.